Investigators are claiming that they have finally uncovered the true identity of the infamous Zodiac Killer. A team known as the Casebreakers say they have evidence that link this person to the crimes, and on top of that, they believe that he could also be linked to the disappearances of other people during the years that he was active. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know right here on IO. But first, if you could do us a big favor and please tap that like button, we'd really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's begin. Back in the late 1960s, the Zodiac Killer terrified residents of San Francisco and the surrounding areas after witnessing the brutal nature of his crimes, and on top of that, how seemingly random these attacks were. Not to mention, he drew great pleasure from mocking law enforcement officials who were panicking about how they were going to find this man and decipher the coded messages that he would repeatedly send to them. Police had pursued thousands of leads over multiple decades, all with the hope that they would one day find someone that matched the evidence that they had. Recently, a team of specialists who investigate cold cases said that they have actually identified the Zodiac Killer. The Casebreakers, as they call themselves, are a team of more than 40 law enforcement investigators, journalists, and military intelligence officers. They have tackled other mysteries before, such as the D.B. Cooper hijacking heist, the disappearance of former labor union boss Jimmy Hoffa, as well as many other unsolved cases. In addition to revealing the identity of the Zodiac Killer, they also believe that he could be linked to the slaying of more people hundreds of miles away from his original attacks. Without a doubt, though, he is connected to 5 attacks that occurred in 1968 and 1969 in the San Francisco area. Usually, serial killers would try to stay as far away from authorities as possible after committing their crimes, but what was unusual with the Zodiac was his persistence with taunting authorities with his complex ciphers and letters that were sent to newspapers and law enforcement agencies. His attacks resulted in many books, movies, and documentaries in the years following, with both amateur and professional investigators trying to unmask who this killer could be. According to the Casebreakers, they have identified the Zodiac Killer as Gary Francis Post, who passed away in 2018. After years of digging through new uncovered forensic evidence and comparing them to photos in Gary's darkroom, one image featuring a scar on his forehead matched up with the scars on the sketches of the Zodiac Killer. In addition to that, Jen Bacolt, a former Army counterintelligence agent who works on cold cases, said that deciphering the letters sent by the Zodiac also revealed Gary to be the killer. In one of the notes, the letters of his full name were removed to reveal a different message. She told Fox News in a statement to the press, "So you've got to know Gary's full name in order to decipher these anagrams. I just don't think there's any other way anybody would have figured it out." The Casebreakers also believe that Gary is responsible for the slaying of Sherry Jo Bates on October 31st, 1966 in Riverside, California, which would be hundreds of miles south of the San Fran area and 2 years prior to the first death that was linked to the Zodiac Killer. However, the letter that led investigators to believe this was later debunked because of an anonymous letter that they received in 2016 where someone admitted to writing the earlier note and said that it was all just a sick joke. The police department told the press, "The author admitted that he was not the Zodiac Killer or the killer of Sherry Jo Bates and that he was just looking for attention," adding, "Our homicide cold case unit has determined the murder of Sherry Jo Bates in 1966 is not related to the Zodiac Killer. We understand the public interest in these unsolved murders, but all inquiries regarding the Zodiac Killer should be referred to the FBI. The Sherry Jo Bates case remains an open investigation, and we do not have any additional details to release at this time." However, an FBI memo from 1975 to the Riverside police says that Bates was a Zodiac victim. The Casebreakers believe that she could have been his 6th victim, and they tried to get investigators to compare her DNA to that of Gary Post, but these requests fell on deaf ears. Casebreakers team member Bill Proctor, a former police officer who spent 40 years in television news, told Fox, "The real portion here has everything to do with his ego and arrogance. They're not talking about what they have, which means that anybody else who comes to the table might have a reasonable argument that an outside organization's information is as valuable, if not more valuable, than what the police department has already done." Some of the evidence that they're presenting to link Bates to Post included a number of coincidences that just can't be ignored. For starters, Post was an Air Force veteran when he had received medical checkups for a gun incident at a hospital located just 15 minutes from where Sherry Jo Bates lost her life. On top of that, detectives had discovered a heel print from a military-type boot that matched the same size and style found at other Zodiac crime scenes. Despite being deceased for 3 years, though, there are still some people, for whatever reason, that are loyal to Gary Post. A woman named Michelle, who declined to give her last name, said that she was common law married to Gary's son. She claimed to be a victim of harassment by Post during her relationship, which included damages to her car as well as other incidents. Apparently, he had created a posse of sorts filled with young men that didn't have a father figure. Hans Smits, who said that he spent 10 years hiding a whistleblower that said he escaped from this criminal posse, told him that they would roam California's High Sierra region and that he was actually groomed into being a killing machine. So it's very possible that Gary not only killed people himself, but that he had others trained to assist him. This whistleblower also told Smits that he witnessed Gary burying weapons in the woods and even would put several bear traps around them to prevent people from finding them. This is the case that has been going on for a very long time, and the unfortunate thing is that even if it was Gary Post, he will never have to pay for his crimes. But we would love to hear your thoughts on all of this, though, so don't forget to drop drop us a comment down below. For now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube, or at least try.